All right, guys, got a little Amazon HQ2 taxpayer hustle update for you. Go ahead and put this up on the screen. We previously reported that, there was this whole nationwide contest of Amazon just basically extracting as much tax money of jurisdictions as they possibly could before deciding to land in New York and Northern Virginia, places where they were going to go to anyway to start with, but now they get to do it with, nearly $1 billion in subsidies. So Amazon recently announced they're postponing a lot of their development there. They're not even building what they said they were going to build. But guess what? They still want their money. They are kicking off a process that means they could receive more than $152 million in state money by the summer of 2026. All of the tax credits here are based on the number of jobs they create, technically, and not based so much on the construction. And so there's a couple things going on here, because it's not only have, the dreams of development and shops and restaurants and hotels, those haven't come to fruition at all, in part because they aren't going forward with this huge additional development, which of course would bring in construction workers and all sorts of additional work to the area. But also post-pandemic, their workers, even if they're creating these jobs, are not working in the office full time. So much like other places around the country, you don't have this, glut of office workers who want to go to lunch and want to do whatever office workers do during the day and spend money in the region. So this has been a disaster for Virginia, I would say. Amazon, in spite of it all, they still want their $150 million.
Yeah, I think this is why it's complete BS, is that the government of Virginia showered them in tax benefits that they are now not fulfilling their obligations, because basically the trade was like, well, all these people who have a lot of money will move here, small businesses, and actually a lot of apartment complexes were going around in that area. I live pretty close by. A lot of businesses were opening and banking on the idea that these Amazon executives were going to be moving in, and now they're pulling out, which is already actually a disaster, for the local economy. But then they want their tax benefits too. It's like, well, hold on a second. And actually, this vindicates a lot of the fight about what was going on in New York, where New York at the time pulled its benefits. And that was the other point with that. At the time, New York City doesn't need to shower anybody in tax benefits to get people to want to work and live there. Like, a lot of people like the network effects of it. And especially on its face, it's a hell of a lot better place to do business than San Francisco or Seattle, I think, if you take a look at variable crime rates, especially whenever we're talking about Manhattan. So they didn't need to, and then Amazon was like, fine, we're going to go to Virginia, and then it didn't even work out for the state of Virginia. So it's actually very embarrassing.
This was a shakedown. The whole thing was a shakedown. They made this whole show. I mean, it's really embarrassing. I did a whole monologue. It's embarrassing when you go and look. It's sad at these little cities or places that are in long-term decline because, they were deindustrialized or whatever, and they were like, I'll name my city after you, and I'll, making all of these promises and putting together these pitch decks to try to lure Amazon with the thought that, hey, if they showed up in a mid-tier city, they could take it to the next level, they could revive a place that's struggling, they could go somewhere in the heartland and
Virginia would be good.
So much possibility for what it could mean. And then at the end of the process, they locate in the two places where, by the way, Jeff Bezos already had residences, making it clear, this was where they were always going to choose. They just wanted to shake down the governments by doing this whole competition for as much as they were possibly worth. And by the way, Virginia, for all of the hundreds of millions that they ponied up in terms of tax incentives, nothing compared to what New York had offered them. New York had offered them way more, which is part of why the plug ends up being pulled on that completely, because the price tag was just so insane and outrageous. But you can see, even for Virginia, this has not worked out. Amazon pulling the plug on development, still demanding their money. Arlington is quoted in this, Arlington County, which is where it's located, is quoted in this article saying, the hotels, the short-term rentals, all this stuff, none of this has shown up. None of this has materialized whatsoever. And then there's also, this is typical of the corporate incentives, Amazon was going to locate somewhere, and so it just ends up being this national race to throw a gigantic, extremely profitable company hundreds of millions of dollars that, they don't need and that could go to any other number of state-level priorities. So anyway, just the latest grotesque slap in the face from Amazon to Virginia taxpayers.
Certainly right. All right. We'll see you guys later.
Hey guys, ready or not, 2024 is fully upon us now, and Sagar and I have been brainstorming ways that we can really up our game for this critical election.
Yeah, we rely on our premium subs to expand our coverage, to add staff, to upgrade the studio. We just want to give you the best independent coverage of this election, which is possible. So if you can help us out, become a premium subscriber today, breakingpoints.com, or the link is down here in the description video. It really means the world to us, and if you like what we're all about, this is the best possible way to keep us 100% independent, working only for you.